Well, we have been going around in circles here, haven't we, for about 2.5 years. I think a couple of things have become now clear, and maybe this accounts also for this relative air of mordancy that you see in the House of Commons. I don't think there will be a general election anytime soon. I also don't think there'll be a new referendum anytime soon. I think the people who've been bidding for those two ideas have more or less capitulated. So you are now back to this binary issue, which I've always thought is the case, a softer deal or no deal. I think we will leave. And Mrs May absolutely is blackmailing everybody. I mean, I saw a headline, the most obvious headline in the world. MPs accuse Mrs May of blackmail. Clearly that is what she's trying to do. She is running it down to the wire. And she's saying to people on both sides, those people who either hate the idea of not going out at all, or the people who just hate going out, they're simply saying, look, you've got several choices, but really it boils down to whether you have this relatively unacceptable but not completely unacceptable idea, my deal, or those other two extremes which you don't want. I think it's fairly obvious that there will be a deal which will be relatively acceptable to most of the House of Commons, or at least a majority, and we will leave with a long transition period and so on. And frankly, I'm not all that bothered about it now. It is going to go absolutely down to the wire to the very latest date.
How much sway do you think big business is having at this point? Because we saw first up a couple of weeks ago Nissan deciding not to build their SUV here, and then Ford came out yesterday saying that if we happen to leave Europe without a deal, it could cost them as much as $800 million this year alone. So they will protect those European operations to remain competitive.
Oh, I think it's having an enormous impact, both below the surface and above the surface. And of course, it's been a steady drumbeat now for some time. You do remember our really rather appalling former Foreign Secretary. He made some very disobliging remarks about business, how he didn't care about this, it was all Project Fear and so on. But nobody believes that now. Everybody knows this is about jobs. As you've been saying, the world growth story is getting a lot less good. Europe is not in a good state from a growth point of view, and jobs are at stake here. And I think people cannot gamble with that, and that is really what's going to change even the hearts and minds of the most ardent Brexiteers.
You talk about the most obvious headline. I'm talking about the most frustrating headlines. And again, we come in and we do our best to be apolitical on all of this as well. But when I see every headline about British GDP being about Brexit, certainly Brexit mentioned in par one, and then I see every headline about every other country in the world slowing down is about domestic factors or international trade or China or US. But there seems to be this obsession with actually the British slowdown is because of Brexit, and I don't know if that's entirely accurate, David.
I think when the history books are written, we'll see that, in fact, the whole Brexit debate hasn't had all that much impact at all. It clearly has led to a lack of investment. But if we do get a deal and we do go out with this transition period, which will be very messy, there will be a revival of investment, I believe, in this country, because there has been some suppressed investment. So I think if you take a 5 or 10 year view and look back at this in, say, a decade's time, you probably ask yourself what all the fuss was about. And indeed, as you've just said, these German GDP numbers, even worse, the Italian numbers, do point to a big fall in the underlying demand and underlying buoyancy of the European economies.
Hi, I'm Joanna Bersecci, and thank you for watching. You can check out more of our videos by clicking on the boxes on the screen. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more from CNBC International. Thank you for watching.